Is AI going to fundamentally change songwriting forever?
That's a great question.
For me, it's both terrifying and exhilarating to think of the possibilities. Welcome, SongTown. I'm Clay Mills. I got my compadre, Marty Dotson, here with me this morning.
Compadre could be a word of the day.
No, another one.
Compadre.
We'll see what happens.
All right.
So I thought it'd be cool to do a few of these episodes where I don't tell Marty the subject ahead of time. I'm just going to spring it on him. He's going to spring them on me. We'll call them the surprise sessions. They'll just be real conversations from real songwriters, and we'll see what happens. As songwriters, we show up each day to writing sessions, and we have to come up with stuff on the spot. That's what we do, and so in the spirit of that, I thought it would be fun. So today, let's talk about, Marty, I want to drop this on you.
Okay.
Is AI going to fundamentally change songwriting forever?
That's a great question. I've had a number of people ask me that lately.
Yeah. And I mean, the reason I really started thinking about it is because not too long ago, I had been talking to a couple of other pro songwriters, and one of them said that they had been on ChatGPT and had, they wrote a first verse and a chorus to a song. And then they asked the chat to come up with second verses, and they asked it to spit out like 16 different verses. And they said, well, can you add a little humor to it? And then it made it funny. And then and they were just blown away. They said, I didn't use anything that it said, but I found a line in there that really sparked an idea. And he said, in a way, it was like having this co-writer in the room with me. And so I just thought we should talk about that because, I have to admit, the thought of AI writing ad copy and blogs, and now I see an advertisement, let AI write your children's book for you. And so I was talking to my wife, Karen, and she said that there's actually a book publisher that she's friends with that had to stop receiving unsolicited, submissions because they could tell they were getting hundreds and hundreds of AI written submissions, and they've literally had to shut down submissions. So you can't submit a book to this company anymore if they don't know you because of this. So for me, it's both terrifying and exhilarating to think of the possibilities,
Yeah. Well, early in my career, my first publisher was a really funny guy, and he was writing with someone, and they kind of got stuck on a rhyme that they needed. And so he pulled out his rhyming dictionary. This was back in the old days before we had rhyming dictionaries online. And he pulled out his rhyming dictionary and he's looking up rhymes. And this other person kind of like scolded him. They were like, oh, that's not pure songwriting if you have to go to places like that. And my publisher said, I can write 3 songs in the time you're trying to sit around and think up another rhyme for love,
Right.
And, so my approach has always been, new tools are exciting opportunities to expand what you do, and like the writer you described, if I can use an AI program to spark ideas, get ideas, that's great. The limitation to AI, in my opinion, and I have looked at this a little bit, I've played around with an AI site, and it's not able to put heart and soul into a song.
Right.
And, even if it can come up with some words, it's just very stiff. It might have some feeling words in it, but it just feels very stiff and like a computer wrote it. I'm sure that will change as technology progresses, and it will get closer and closer and closer. But, I don't know if there's going to be hit songs written by AI in the future, but I certainly think it could be a great tool. And a great tool for expanding your horizons as a writer, because we just finished our master classes in Songtown, and one of the things that I was working with people on was like getting out of their ruts. They would turn in
Yeah.
a couple of songs that kind of had the same rhyme pattern and the same length lines, and so there were some habits they were in that were not providing like much variation in their songs, and so we did some exercises to kind of get them out of that. But AI could certainly be one of those that you could see what AI comes up with and just copy the rhyme scheme, for instance, and that might get you out of what your typical pattern might be.
Yeah. And, you know, I was kind of blown away with it because I really started playing with it. For instance, my wife and I are planning to take a belated honeymoon trip to the UK. So I got on there and I said, okay, this is where we're going to be for 3 days. Give me an itinerary for, this is what we're into. We like music and art and beautiful gardens, whatever. Um, and typed it in, said, give me like a couple of mile radius of things we can do within walking distance. And it literally spit out, day one, you can have breakfast here. Then you can walk over to here. If you like in the afternoon, you can take a train out to see this. And it literally filled up 3 days with stuff. And some of it were things that I had planned to do anyway, but then there were other things that I had not even thought of. And
That's great.
it just kind of blew me, and then I'm going, okay, is this going to change the travel industry? Like there's so much on the horizon. And, part of me, I heard this argument years ago when drum machines first came out. People were like, oh, it's going to put drummers out of business. This is awful. Well, we know that's been 3 decades, and our friends over at Drumeo, they've got thousands of members that are learning to play the drums every day. It hasn't put drummers out of business. It may have cut back some of the work, but if you're a good drummer, you're still going to find gigs, to play. And so I think it's definitely going to change, and I thought it would.
Yeah.
This is what I thought we could do. I pulled up ChatGPT, and I thought it would be fun. I'm going to put in, just to put it through its paces, I'm going to put in a verse and chorus of one of the songs I had with Darius Rucker and ask it to write a second verse.
What if it's better than your actual second verse?
I know, right? Like what? Then it's like, then I will be worried, Marty. I will be really worried. Let's see. So here, just to read you the first verse and chorus quickly so we have some context for those who haven't heard the song. It's called Don't Think I Don't Think About It. So the first verse is, I left out in a cloud of taillights and dust, swore I wasn't coming back, said I'd had enough. Saw you in the rear view standing, fading from my life, but I wasn't turning round. No, not this time. But don't think I don't think about it. Don't think I don't have regrets. Don't think it don't get to me between the work and the hurt and the whiskey. Don't think I don't wonder about. Could have been, should have been, all worked out. I know what I felt and I know what I said, but don't think I don't think about it. Okay, so I'm going to type in here, give it some instructions. Write a second verse to my song, make it in the style of Darius Rucker and country music. Let's see kind of what it does. Hit the enter button. It's thinking about it, Marty. It has a brain. Okay, so here's what we got. I hit the road and headed out to Tennessee. Thought a change of scenery would do me good, you see. But every honky-tonk and every neon sign reminds me of the love that I left behind. I mean, it made sense, right?
Yeah.
It made sense. It's a little cheesy and, thought a change of scenery would do me good, you see. I don't know if I would talk like that.
Not super conversational. Yeah.
The original second verse was cool because it ended with a question. And that led me into don't think I don't think about it. This just kind of makes a statement. There's no,
Yeah.
it's just like this statement, this statement. It doesn't really go deeper into emotion. Like for instance, my second verse went deeper into the story and the emotion and the pain of it. When we make choices, we got to live with them. Heard you found a real good man and you married him. I wonder if sometimes I cross your mind, and where would we be today if I never drove that car away? But don't think I don't think about it. So it tells a little bit more. She's with someone else. He's got to live with these choices. I mean, that really sets up the regret part of the chorus,
Yeah.
where you don't get any of that with the generic cliche thing. Let me type in a thing. I'm going to say rewrite.
Try again.
Second verse with more inner rhymes. We're not even getting to the part where I can't sing what they wrote to my melody because of the way, the emphasis on certain words, and I'm sure that'll all be down the road. You can somehow go emphasize this word, but then already we're in a thought process instead of a heart process. When,
Right.
I heard someone say, well, the creative part will be knowing the questions to ask and telling it how to create. But to me, then that's all in your head. There's no heart involved in that. There's no humanity. Okay, so
And
it's rewriting now.
it kind of backed the story up. It maybe ChatGPT needs to take my master class, because instead of advancing the story like you did, it kind of went back to the road kind of thing. Didn't really.
Well, Marty, they'll probably hire you to. They'll probably be hiring you to teach this thing how to write songs. I'm sure.
What if we find out that our compadre Ashley Gorley is
Ding, ding,
actually?
ding, ding, ding.
What if he's actually an AI person, and that's how he's gotten 60 number ones?
I don't know.
That could be crazy.
No, his songs have. Here's the thing. What AI can't do, in my estimation right now, is it doesn't have, well, first of all, it doesn't have humanity. And
Right.
art is not a formula. I think people that program these types of programs think that, oh, this is all just a formula. We'll set these parameters and it'll spit out, great stuff. But art is not a formula. Art is a struggle with a person trying to solve problems inside of themselves, trying to figure out the world around them, make sense of the world around them. And we're all going to see things differently,
Right.
And it's that struggle to create art and to create something that will speak to, I want to write a song that speaks to everyone that hears it and makes them feel something. That's the humanity side that AI just hasn't hit yet. Let's see what it did. I just asked it to write a new verse with inner rhymes.
All right.
I hit the road, Tennessee bound to start anew. A change of scenery I thought might pull me through, but every honky-tonk and neon sign reminds me of the love I left behind. Not a lot of inner rhymes there.
No, I didn't really catch many, if any, of those.
I love this. A change of scenery I thought might pull me through.
It's a little Dr. Seussy, I will say that. and a little Yoda. It's like if you took Dr. Seuss and Yoda and they had a computer baby, that's what it might come up with.
Okay, I'm going to say rewrite with less cliches. Let's see what it says there. Okay.
Is it thinking?
No, it rewrote my first verse. I drove away in a cloud of dust and exhaust. Vowed never to return, to hurt, to exhaust. In the rear view, you stood.
Mm,
In the rear view, you stood, fading from sight. But I kept on driving on, determined to make it right.
he
Yeah,
taught
that
her.
doesn't make any sense, man.
No. AI's
Okay,
falling
so
apart.
I'm done. I feel confident for the moment that our jobs are safe, Marty.
Yeah.
Um, but I did get an email from a company the other day going, if you don't write lyrics and you're a musician, AI can write your lyrics for you. And man, I mean, we already have 100,000 average songs a day loaded up to Spotify. Only a
Yeah.
handful of those songs are great. And you're going to do this, you're going to plug everyone into the
Yeah.
same system to spit out the same cliche lyrics. I mean, ugh.
Yeah. Well, in my master class, I teach a way to never get stuck on a second verse. But if
Mm-hmm.
you haven't had that class and you tend to get stuck on second verses, this might be a way to spark some ideas. You might
Yeah.
get it to write you 10 second verses and kind of see if there's anything that sparks an idea. But yeah, like we said in the beginning, I think we're safe for now, but it certainly could be an interesting tool to play around with and use.
I know. Well, I mean, I think as far as us getting together as compadres and writing a song,
Yeah.
I think we're safe for the moment, but I think eventually it will get very advanced when it comes to songwriting and people will come up with programs. I just, you know, that part's exciting. The other part though is do we do people lean on it to the point where they lose the ability? We all have calculators, so we don't really have to know math. So
Mhm.
are we going to get to that point? Because for me, the fun part is not the end result. It's learning to be a better writer and learning to come up with stuff. I was in a session. Sometimes you and I do these corporate events where we meet with CEOs and we'll go through a songwriting exercise. And I was doing one of those the other day, and it was 16 tech CEOs from tech startups that were very successful. And we're sitting there writing a song, um, coming up with ideas. And one guy kept throwing out a couple of really cliche lines, and someone else goes, "Are you on AI?" And he kind of grinned. And
Oh,
the
really?
lines were not the lines were not usable.
Uh,
Um, and then about so we're sitting there, and I threw out a line, and the whole room goes, "Whoa!" Like, that is amazing. And I just looked up and said, "Let me see AI do that."
yeah.
So that's the difference. Like, even they knew, and some of them were involved with AI technology, even they knew that AI doesn't have that vision and to come up with something special that's never been done, that's right on point for what the song's about and what, it's still lacking that heart and soul.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of just a couple steps up from putting all the words in the world in the bag and shaking the bag and throwing out 10 words and that's going to be your line. It's more
Yeah.
advanced than that, and that, it can rhyme, it can, have some structure to it, but until it can have a human heart and touch human hearts, it's probably not going to take over.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our word to everybody out there listening probably would be, don't fear new technology.
No.
See how it can help you, you know? So, like I said, I'm going to explore with it more. I'm going to experiment. I'm going to try different things and see if there are ways that it can spark ideas within me, because I think that's a cool opportunity.
Yeah, man. Okay, Songtown, check out our sponsor, Sweetwater. If you're watching this on YouTube, as I always say, they are responsible for all of this crazy gear behind me. I've been using them for many, many years. They have helped me, great customer service. I know Marty has a studio with gear. You can't see it
Yeah.
in his
Yeah.
photo there. You're just blinded by his gold records, but he has gear there too.
So check them out in the show notes. Check out books we've written. Clay has a great book on melody. I've got one on lyric writing. We've got one together on co-writing. We wrote those with Bill O'Hanlon, who's a SongTown member. And we'd love for you to check out SongTown as well. We've got a great community of people.
All right. Cheers, y'all.
See you next week.